congressional and Senate races. Mark, let's first get the Maryland delegation out of the way. Any changes?
I think there's an excellent chance in District 6. I know the conventional wisdom is that David Trone can spend so much money. Candidly, with lots of money, sometimes there's a point of diminishing return. District 6 is it's depending who you talk to, either a D+1 or an R+1 race. I think that Neil Parrott has an excellent chance winning there. There are two other competitive races that in a wave election, Nick Ambrose's race against Dutch Ruppersberger is another one that could also change as well.
Well, and Nick Ambrose is a past contributor here on 21 this week. So of course we wish her well. Nancy, what do you think about the delegation races? Any upsets there?
Well, not in Montgomery County. I think it's unlikely. Again, it's the same principle as with the council in terms of voter turnout. But I think there are unlikely to be these Montgomery County delegation changes. Statewide, I defer to others on.
All right. Well, let's talk about let's put on our pundit hat here. And the question on almost everyone's lips these days is: will there be a red wave or a red mirage next Tuesday? Simon Rosenberg, who's the head of the progressive think tank Indian, had this to say on Politico. What I'm telling you is that the narrative about this election, about there being a red wave, there isn't one. There's never been one. Mark, is he correct?
Well, it's interesting. There are not a lot of progressives or Democrats who are predicting that the Democrats are going to hold the House. And I think any election in which one of the houses changes control is a really big deal. Yes, but part of it is perhaps an expectation issue, which is that the House has been conceded for such a long time that we're kind of taking it for granted. I think it's highly likely that the Republicans will also take the Senate as well. So you've got two houses of Congress changing hands. That's a pretty big deal.
So Nancy, to contrast what was just said by Stuart Rosenberg, another pollster said, we are one statistical error away from having a major Republican sweep. What do you think?
Well, I don't believe in polls. And I don't particularly believe in the way people present the statistics. But it's done to achieve a certain result. So, you can play with the numbers the way you want. The real issue is turnout, because people are going to vote party line. So the question is, how many people care enough about anything to show up and vote? So that's going to be the real issue, how effective the parties have been in generating turnout. Because I don't think issues matter to people, because forgive me, there are nutcases on the ballot who may well win. And people really don't know much about them, but they will vote party line. The question is, how many will do that? They're not going to vote for the other side. The best you're going to get from people who don't like a particular candidate is they won't vote for them, but they'll vote for everybody else in their party side. And that's your challenge. That's the challenge of politics these days. And the other that really is to beat the other side. Not who the candidate is necessarily, but to win. It's not policy anymore. It's not issues.
Oh, I think it's very much issues. This is issue driven.
I'm glad you feel that way.
This is an issue driven.
Have dreamers out there. I wish you were right.
Issue driven election on the economy and crime. I mean, it is, and I think that's one of the reasons it's going to be so lopsided, is the response to the crime and economic and inflation issue has been denial. And it is, how shall I say, political malpractice, policy malpractice of the highest order to tell voters that the issues that they care about, that they're concerned about, are somehow irrelevant.
Well, I'm not saying they're irrelevant. I'm just saying the reality is most people, I have to tell you, informed, that most people don't know about the candidates. Most people haven't read this stuff. Most people, maybe some of this is seeped into their brain when they're driving around and they hear a political message, but by and large, people care about
Nancy,
their
here's what,
party.
I'm
And
going
that's
to
what
cut you
party-
off because
what's
we only
gonna
have
dominate.
about 30 seconds left, which is, I'll tell you what's going to happen. If New Hampshire flips the Senate seat, it'll be because they're already rationing heating oil. And they're already experiencing $1,500 a month bills for heating oil. We have a 20-day supply of diesel fuel. People go to the gas station. People have to buy fuel. They're gonna vote their pocketbooks. They always have. They always will. And so if there are any changes, that'll be the reason.